You remember PTron, don't you? I checked out all of their Bassbuds series about a year ago. Their Bassbuds Pro, the Lite, and the Bassbuds themselves. And we compared the three of them, and that ended up being my most viewed video on this channel. And recently I saw that they have released a newer version of the Bassbuds Pro. They're calling this the Bassbuds Pro. They're calling this the Bassbuds Pro 5.1. It just arrived today. Let's take a look. They always cover their products with this cheap quality plastic. I don't like that. But then again, this is a super cheap product. It's going for the same price as the original version of the Bassbuds Pro for $12.99 on Amazon. Okay, I guess the package inside is improved a little bit. I mean, they have replaced that cheap plastic thing with a cardboard piece. At least that's recyclable. I think this is a warranty card. But we already know about product warranties like this, right? So I've made a video about that. You can check it out. But I'm not really hoping to get great warranty service for this price. So that's why they ask you to charge this. The earbuds come out of the box, and I guess they want to protect the battery's health. And oh, okay, right off the bat, the finishing on this newer Bassbuds Pro version body is different. It's a little bit glossier than last time. Last time's Bassbuds, if you remember, it was pretty smooth and very like slippery. This time it has a newer design. It has a colored ring around it. I got the blue color variant, as you can see, and the colored display is a little bit different too. There are magnets to hold earphones in place as usual, and this time the display is a little bit different. It doesn't show the left and right battery individually now. I think it only shows the charging percentage of the entire case. It doesn't show the individual battery percentages anymore. But so far what I'm seeing is, yeah, this is a little bit better than before. Like, it doesn't have any sharp edges this time. If you remember the Bassbuds Pro of last time, or the earlier version, it had pretty sharp edges on the corners, and I said that it's not comfortable to open with one hand. This thing has a much better grip on the outside, so it's a little bit easier to open with one hand. And oh, what is this? They have manually erased out some information from their own manual. They couldn't be bothered to fix it in the printer itself. They actually scratched it off with a marker. But I guess, I mean, for the price, you can't really expect anything more. And I'm not really expecting anything spectacular either. And I'm okay with what I'm seeing so far. Okay. They just bundle in everything together in one pouch. This time they have gone a little bit further to put their brand name on everything. Like last time around, the Bassbuds Pro did not have the PTron logo on individual earbuds. They've included that this time, and also they have kind of added this strange looking, or pretty nice looking groove actually, to show their brand. Of course, it's USB-C rechargeable, which is one of the best things about this thing. Even in this budget, they are giving the Type-C port, so you can recharge this with your phone's charging cable. And of course they have a charging cable included, but most of us have a Type-C cable anyway. Let's see how easy it is to pair this thing to your phone. So I'll just switch on Bluetooth. Should be the same as before. You take them out and they enter pairing mode. Yep. So it looks like the left earbud is the primary earbud. As you can see, that's sending out a Bluetooth signal that my phone can pick up. Let me just scan for devices. There it is, Bassbuds Pro. Yep. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And of course, just like with every other wireless earbud, once you've paired it, you don't have to pair it other time. Next time you directly take it out, it'll automatically pair up if the Bluetooth is enabled on your device. There are a couple of interesting things I saw in their the specifications of this thing. So apparently it is using Bluetooth 5.1, which is strange because last time I checked their product page, it didn't exactly mention that, or maybe I missed it. But anyway, they're saying it's Bluetooth 5.1, so that should be that should mean lower latency this time. We'll check that out in a second. And one thing that was kind of disappointing was that the charging case still uses a 300 mAh battery, which is the same capacity as last time. So last time I did complain that the Bassbuds Pro's battery does not last very long because it's it's such a tiny capacity. So this time around, even with a bigger case, they are still using a smaller 300 mAh battery. I wish they could do slightly bigger, like 350 or something, because 300 mAh in my experience has only been good enough to last for about like 2 hours of continuous usage. But at least it has a Type-C port, which is great, because even higher options like this one from Crossbeats, this thing costs about 3,500 rupees. Almost twice as expensive as this one, but it still has a micro USB port. So in comparison to products like this, the Bassbuds Pro definitely has some advanced features. The earbuds are about the same size as earlier, and the only difference is that this time they have a like a circular shape to kind of guide your fingers, because this is a touch capacitive area. Earlier they didn't have a clear identification where you have to touch in the older version, but the newer version has a flatter surface, so that may make it easier for you to tap it when you have this in your ear. While trying them on for the first time, I noticed that the inside edge of these earphones is matte finished, which is very slippery, and that's not a good idea actually. Ideally, the inside should be at least rubber or something that holds onto your ears well. The tip that comes in here is a medium-sized tip, but it's pretty damn small, so it slips out of my ears. So I guess most of you will have to switch to this larger size tip. It does take a little bit of practice because the top side is very slippery, so it slips around in your ears when you're trying to put them in. But once you know how to fit them in, then they stay in place. Okay, time to take them through some of my favorite songs and see how they perform.
2,000 years later.
So I've been using this for a couple of hours now today, and I have some thoughts. Well, two things. Firstly, I did replace those larger ear tips back to the normal one because I saw that even though the larger tip is more comfortable in your ear when you first put it on, I was using it outside and it's pretty hot. So once it started sweating around my ears, those larger ear tips kind of slipped out eventually. So I had to replace them back to the medium size ear tips. These are the ones that will be most comfortable. So yeah, keep them at the stock ear tips that they come with. The first thing I noticed was that delay has been greatly reduced with the Bassbuds Pro, especially from the older versions of the Bassbuds series. I think the Bluetooth 5.1 is really doing its thing, and even though I was using it with a non-Bluetooth 5.0 based device, like my Note 8 doesn't have Bluetooth 5.0, my Note 9 does, but still, even with this older device, these things were really noticeably faster when it comes to video and audio playback. Like the audio through them, especially when watching YouTube videos, was really like almost lag-free. But it's not a 100% lag-free experience. You do notice some lag here and there, but it's not as annoying as any of the other normal earbuds would offer you. That is incredible for the price of $12.99. I'm really impressed. The sound quality itself was kind of a mixed bag at first. I mean, I did not enjoy the sound that came out of this right off the bat. Like, I use Power Amp, in case you're wondering. So if I was playing some music files that are locally downloaded to my phone and I was playing them through the built-in equalizer, they did not sound very good at all. But then I had to do some changes and then they sounded really nice. I'll show those changes to you right now. The reason why I use Power Amp is because it's a really versatile music player and it has a lot of great features. So first thing you do have to enable is the there's a preset actually which you can kind of do. It's the bass and treble preset. Now the reason why I do this is because the bass on the PTron Bassbuds Pros is actually really good, but they kind of struggle with a little bit higher than average treble, and the treble is the one that kind of gives you that sharp feeling. Always the sound has to be smooth that comes out of an earphone, and if it's a little bit sharp, it will be a little unpleasant to hear for a long time. So what I recommend is you switch on the bass and treble feature. Once that preset has been applied, you increase the preamp just a little bit and then decrease the treble section just by a few inches. That is the 8K and the 16K options that you see here. This will reduce the treble and make the sound nice and smooth. Second thing you need to do is in any equalizer there will be a stereo separation setting, so you have to expand it. By default these things will not be super stereo, and they really need to be stereo to have a left and right channel separation. So enable this stereo expand to about 80 or 85%. So this will give you a really nice stereo separation between these two, and the sound will be much wider. Just these two things should give you a really great sound experience for this price. The touch controls on these things are pretty bare bones. If you single tap on any of these, it pauses and plays the media as we expect. A double tap on either of them will just skip a track forward, like there's no back button, so it will keep skipping tracks forward, and pressing and holding either one of them will bring up either Google Assistant, or if your phone has any other assistant like mine has Bixby, it'll bring up those. These things are crazy loud, like they don't need much kind of impedance to drive them. In fact, I think their impedance is pretty low. If I bring up the spec sheet real quick, yep, these things only have a 32 ohm impedance, which is actually pretty low for a Bluetooth earphone. Usually they are more than 40. So not a lot of earphones in the Bluetooth range come with 32 ohms. So that means it's very easy to drive them, and you don't have to keep the volume anywhere above say 40% mark to get a really nice sound quality output from these. One thing you do have to make sure though is that they are sitting in your ear perfectly, like because because of this angular design, you may think that they fit perfectly, but that's not the case. The design ideally has to be 90 degrees, like vertically, perfectly 90 degrees to have a perfect fit in your ear. So these will not fit all kind of ear types naturally. So you will have to kind of play around in your ear a little bit until you don't hear any wind noise or any external noises anymore, and you just hear the audio coming out of these. So once you find that perfect fit, you will have a great audio experience out of these. In my brief time of using them, and this is not a full review by the way, this is just 1 day's of impression. I will use them a little bit more after a couple of days and I'll give you my full review. So if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that. But in my initial impressions of these, the touch capacitive buttons, even though I prefer physical buttons, have been really good. Like even though I am taking them out and putting them back in my ear, they haven't misfired once. That's pretty impressive, because even some of my expensive options that I've tried earlier have pretty sensitive touch capacitive buttons, and these are actually really nice. They are quite precise, and I think I usually get it right say 8 out of 10 times. I do miss them sometimes because these are new and I'm not used to it yet, but I'm really happy with how they've been implemented with this model. And the recharge speed won't be anything great either. It's just 5 volt 1 amp, so it's pretty bare bones, but 300 mAh shouldn't take more than half an hour anyway. I did notice an interesting thing about this cradle, that the digital display kind of automatically turns on when the lid is opening, and it does kind of automatically switch off when the lid is being closed. I didn't know if this feature was there in the earlier version of the Bassbuds Pro, but it's there here. You can actually take out just the left earbud and use this individually. You don't have to take out the right one, obviously. Since this is the primary one, you can just have it connected. See, it automatically connected to my phone, and I can just use this for say phone calls or whatnot. Overall though, PTron, I have to say that they have done a really good job. This is an earphone that I would comfortably recommend at the price of $12.99. I don't think you'll get anything better than this right now. I mean, really every other earphone out there, even something that's close to 2000, doesn't really match up to this in terms of value. And now that it actually sounds good, I mean, the original complaint with the earlier model of my Bassbuds Pro was that it doesn't have much volume or really much low end in it at all. This one has all of that, and it does respond very well to equalizer. Like we saw, if you tune it a little bit with an equalizer, you can get these to sound really good. But hopefully by now you had a pretty good idea of what you can expect from this, and if you have already decided to go for this, then yeah, I don't see why not. In fact, even though I like it very much, I probably will give this away to one of you guys. I mean, I have plenty of truly wireless earphones anyway, and I'm not looking to get another one. So I just wanted to see if this is actually good or not before I recommend this to anyone else, and yeah, these are really nice. Actually, last time PTron contacted me on Instagram because they were not happy that I said some bad things about their Bassbuds Lite. And I still stand by that actually. You should not buy the Bassbuds Lite, they are pretty bad. But I guess now they'll be really happy if they watch this video that I really like the newer version of their Bassbuds Pro. I mean, usually I don't like doing giveaways because, it brings in a lot of subscribers and stuff who are not really interested in your content. They just want the free stuff. But since you're a part of this community, and if I had to gift you something, I might as well gift something that I like myself. So yeah, I think this will be a good option. So what should be the terms for this giveaway? Should we just do a random comment selection or something like that? Leave your suggestions in the comments down below and subscribe so you don't miss the review when this drops. Yeah, we've covered quite a bit in this video, haven't we? So if there are any further things that you want me to cover in the review, so yeah, you should definitely let me know. Okay then, cheers.